Building good habits. That's something that takes practice. It takes repetition. It takes time to get right. I want to make a goal for myself. I'm going to start a 30-day challenge. And in this 30-day challenge, I'm going to try to get myself to wake up at 9 a.m. every single day for 30 days straight. And if I fail to do so, it resets until I can do it 30 days straight. I'm doing this because I've had difficulty with it. I'm just so used to sleeping in because of my work schedule. I complain about my work schedule so often that in reality, it's an easy fix. Not everyone can be able to do things on weekdays during normal business hours, go to appointments, pick up something on the side outside of working. But I have that luxury. And who knows what's going to come from waking up at 9 a.m. every day. But that's the beginning of a good habit. In the past, I've struggled with having a weaker immune system. I was always sick in college, going to sleep at 3, getting up for my 8 a.m.s. I know that my body needs around 7 to 8 hours every day. And if I choose to do this challenge, I'm going to have to make good decisions. And that means not staying up too late. I really have to aim to go to sleep around 1:30 latest. So we'll see how this challenge goes. I'll try to update it every so often. If I never get in the habit of doing this for 30 days consecutively, I think having a majority of that time being successful is also a big accomplishment. And I'm gonna hate this so much because I was never a morning person. But hey, everyone else has to do it, right? And 9 a.m. is probably not even early for a lot of you, but for me, I don't remember the last time I've woken up 2 days consecutively at such an early time. So, let's begin. Tomorrow will be day 1. It will be July 23rd tomorrow. So, I have 30 calendar days to make this a thing. So let's do it. Day 1, my 8:55 alarm just went off. And it's so hard. I can just so easily go back to sleep right now because I have 6 hours until I actually have to go to work. The things I want to mention, I'm not going to start over if I don't wake up at 9 because I feel the video's never going to get posted if I do that. So I'm just going to try my best. I can't just give up after day 1. So let's get up. A weekend, and all I can say is that it's been a struggle. I'd be able to get up at 9 and be productive for maybe an hour or 2. And by 11, I'd be tired. And I would try to lay down just for a second, and I end up getting knocked out for at least an hour. But honestly, after waking up that second time, after that nap, I feel very rejuvenated. So I think it's all about my body trying to get used to a new circadian rhythm, I guess, because it's so used to a certain set schedule, and that's why I'm doing this challenge. That's why it's gonna take not just 1 or 2 days for my body to adjust. It's gonna take a while. I've tried to create some habits, some morning rituals that will help make this process a lot easier. I told myself that I can't get back into bed once I get off of it. So the couple of days that I did was really a relapse. It was an urge that I couldn't resist. But some things that I tried to do later on in the past week was get up. I would have my phone opposite of the room, so once the alarm went off, that's already a sign for me to get out of bed. And from there on, I would try to go straight to the bathroom, splash some water in my face, try to get my day started. I was very tempted after that to just lay back on the bed every single time. But instead, I went ahead and made my bed. And I think small things like that really do help in the grand scheme of things. After that, I started meditating. Headspace is a really good app, and I really recommend it to everyone who wants just a couple minutes of silence every day to gather their thoughts and to have no distractions. if I close my eyes sometimes during the meditation, I do tend to doze off a little bit, but it's getting a lot better. And after that, it's just a bunch of things like drinking a glass of water, popping on a podcast or two, and just start to get my brain functioning. And like I said, this is after week 1. I'm going to see what works and what doesn't work, but so far, I think some of these morning rituals have been very beneficial. And not even only to keep me awake in the morning, but just for my life in general. So I'm 2.5 weeks in now. The routine has pretty much stayed the same. The process really hasn't gotten much easier. Or I guess I'm trying to say it hasn't really come naturally yet. But really, what can you expect? It's only been 2 weeks trying to build a habit of something that I've had a bad habit of doing for about 2, maybe more years now. Routine-wise, I did start implementing the use of a planner, and this really just keeps me accountable. I use it to write down to do items the night before that I plan on doing the next day. And it really gives me a reason to wake up in the morning. The challenge with that is that it's usually a list of things that are a pain in the butt or things that I don't really find myself enjoying if I have to do. So really, to go hand in hand with that, I've developed a mindset of what can I do to be excited to wake up the next morning. And right now, it's really thinking of ideas of improving my videos, ideas for my current video, this video right now, ideas for future videos. And I really think that I found a hobby that might actually stick this time. Another note that I want to mention at this halfway point is the fact that I've been feeling a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency that I need to go to sleep, and a sense of urgency of waking up in the morning. And it's really built some anxiety to the point where I have difficulty falling asleep. And I have this fear of oversleeping all the time. So I end up waking up early, waking up around 7, 7:15, 7:30, really fragmenting up my sleep schedule. And honestly, that's in part because this is a challenge. I feel like I have a quota to meet sometimes. In reality, it's been a 2-week challenge so far. Like I just said, there's no way that this will come naturally yet. It's a process of me trying to overcome an addiction. It's the bigger picture that I'm trying to get out of it is that you need to stop sleeping in. You need to stop going to sleep late. It's been something I'm trying to do for years now. So having just 2 weeks to build upon that, yeah, it's going to be a challenge. Yeah, I'm going to have some anxiety, but the 30 days is really more so of me trying to create something that I haven't been able to have a pattern of. And that anxiety that's being built is just me trying to prove to myself that I can do it. Dale Carnegie actually has a quote that I'm reading right now, and he says, "Feeling sorry for yourself and your present condition is not only a waste of energy, but the worst habit you could possibly have." And this quote hits very true to me. Like I was just saying, I spent months and years complaining about something, complaining about my sleep schedule, complaining about this habit of staying up, but I never really did anything about it. That was a habit in and of itself. It was my worst habit, actually. And despite not being 100% perfect during this challenge, I've made strides, and I've learned a lot. And I'll definitely make a strong push to the end. Alright, I admit I haven't been filming for the past couple weeks. And if I'm being honest with you guys, it's actually been more than 30 days now. To be more accurate, it's been 35 days. And this challenge is well over, but that doesn't mean that I've stopped doing what I swore to do for 30 days. I think at this point in time, it's become incorporated into my normal life, and it's gotten a lot easier. It just feels like 2 weeks ago I was struggling and complaining about how it's so hard to remember to do this and how much anxiety I was building up. But at this point, it's just second nature. The challenge itself was an umbrella objective, I would say. And in the process, it really made me build upon smaller auxiliary objectives, smaller habits. I guess to dive into some of the night routines that I started building, which really helped me out with this, was I've mentioned in the past where before I go to sleep, I would unwind by watching Netflix or playing Switch. But these activities actually kept my mind active. It kept it engaged when it should be slowing down and getting ready to be tired so I can go to sleep. So instead, I've been building new night routines. Instead of playing Switch or watching Netflix, I do indulge in, a couple YouTube videos here and there, but ultimately, my first task would be to hop into the shower real quick. Afterwards, I'd just be hopping into bed, watching those 1 or 2 YouTube videos, and then I'm reading for 15 to 30 minutes, or until my eyes fall heavy to the point where I can't stay awake anymore. And this part has been very beneficial to me because I've fallen asleep by 1:30 to 2 because of that. By no means does this mean that I swore off Netflix or Switch. And in fact, I've incorporated them into my morning routine. After I do all the morning rituals that I've mentioned before, I would fire up the TV in the living room. So I would get out of the room and just start playing for a couple minutes or watch an episode or two or something. And this really helped keep my mind awake and active afterwards. This allowed me to continue doing things that I enjoyed doing without any of the previous consequences. I also wanted to mention a book that I was able to read during this process, and it was called The Power of Habit. And I'm sure a couple of you guys out there have probably read it or heard about it, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't intentional that I read this book during a habit building challenge. And I just really wanted to highlight some of the key points that I got from it. The first point that I want to highlight was a craving, and figuring out a craving that would make the habit a lot easier. And I've mentioned at the 2 week point that craving for me to get up early initially was to think of video ideas in the morning, to create more content in the morning. But honestly, after a while, just the fact that I would be able to see the sun for more hours during a day definitely set me up to be a little more successful with it. The book also mentions a habit loop. This involves the cue, the routine, and the reward. And this process is at the core of every successful habit. My difficulty early on was pinpointing and finding out what exactly my loop was. And the first step to do that is to first identify the routine. So the goal was to get up early. And it really involved what I did the night before, obviously. So the routine that I focused on was my night routine. And I pinpointed it down to my night routine being, as I mentioned, staying up because I was on social media and just losing track of time because of it. And that needed to change. I changed that up, made the routine a lot more simplified, made it a lot more relaxing, and it was able to get me to my reward. The entire time the reward was relaxation after work. And at first that meant me spending hours on social media and on the Switch to achieve that. But then afterwards, it became reading. It became actually relaxing by dozing off and sleeping. The last part that I needed to identify was the cue. I had to isolate the cue. And this could have been a couple of things. It could have been because it was the end of the workday, so that means, oh, now I can start my routine. It could have been the side of my bed, or if I can just lay down, that can start my routine. But either way, the cue was always going to be the same, and I just had to change what happened after I noticed the cue. On paper, this process seemed pretty straightforward, but putting it into practice was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. And that's why it took 30 days to actually start making this a thing. And yeah, there are days here and there where I didn't feel like reading and I didn't feel like going to sleep early. So I would go and play some Switch or whatever. But it didn't really affect the continuation of creating that successful habit loop, actually. Because we all need cheat days. And getting those cheat days really helped me stick through with the process. So my final remarks about this challenge Do I think it was a success? Absolutely. Like I said, the goal was never to be perfect, but it was to kickstart something that I could potentially build upon. When I went to sleep late, I would still get up early because that was my punishment. That was my consequence for not sticking through with it. My anxiety about this challenge also dissipated almost naturally. Things started becoming ordinary, things started becoming natural. And two of the biggest factors that contributed to that was getting up with more intent, getting up to do something that was mandatory, hence the planner, and consistency. What more can I say about that? We've talked about consistency this whole challenge, and that's how habits are built. Will I continue waking up this early? Yes, most definitely. I think 9 is actually the sweet spot for me in terms of me being able to have enough time to do things I enjoy and to do things that I need to do. I would recommend anyone who's trying to break a bad habit or try to create some new habits to do this. And give yourself a month to test the waters. That way there's not intimidation and there's not too much of a stress of commitment. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys gained a lot out of it because I surely did. And thanks for watching.